Hi everyone, welcome to the third Unity tutorial video. In this one I want to go through how you navigate Unity's interface and through the game world, what a project is and how to create one, and how we create objects and manipulate them in the scene as we've got them. But to start simply, let's have a look at how you navigate through the Unity interface. And there's quite a varied way of doing things. Okay, you can see I'm moving around, I'm looking around. Okay, I can even sort of walk through the world as though I'm playing it. Okay, and this is in the scene editor. Okay, and I want to show you all these things right now. The simplest way to start is the right click. So if you right click your mouse, you'll see you get an eyeball with a tiny little Tetris block on the bottom. I'm not sure what that refers to, but what it is if you move the mouse, we rotate the camera. And a funny little fact about Unity is if you keep moving the mouse and you go through the top of the screen, it comes out the bottom. And you can just keep on going. Okay, I love that feature. The next one that's pretty important is the mouse wheel. Okay, if I use the mouse wheel to scroll in, I zoom in, and then scroll back to zoom out. And thirdly, if I click it in and hold it, you get the pan, which is the little hand. And it also exists up here on the top left. You can see you got a little hand. Okay, you can click and hold it. And panning allows you to move around as if it was like a 2D picture. Okay, left, right, up and down, and that's it. Okay, moving along from that one, we've got the arrow keys. Okay, now we're not really moving too far. If we had to move towards that door, we'd have to. That's tedious. Okay, what we can do is we can use the arrow keys to move forward, back, strafe left, and strafe right. But personally, I am not a fan of arrow keys. I'm a fan of WSA and D. Okay, but unfortunately they don't work at this point in time. What you can do is a nice little trick that I tend to use most of the time is if you hold right click to get this little Tetris block eye, use WSA and D now, moves in, out, strafes left and strafes right, but you can also, if you press Q and E, go up and down, down and up. That's Q, that's E. Okay, and you can move around the whole world like this. So you can see I'm still right clicking because of that eyeball. Okay, it's all up to you how you use it. Okay, the final one I'll tell you, and it generally only applies if you've got an object selected. If you select an object and you want to rotate around that object, the right click's not going to work for you. What you can do is hold Alt, and you can see you get a different eyeball without a Tetris block. And you left click and drag, and it rotates around certain things. Okay, it's not working 100% there, but well. Still working bloody well. Okay, and that's pretty much it. The last one I can show you is how you navigate across large distances. Okay, at this point in time, let's say I wanted to get over to that side, right over there. I wanted to go to that object. Okay, I can do what I did in the last tutorial and double click up on the hierarchy, or I can press F on the keyboard for focus, and it flies right over to it. So really easy way. If you've got a massive level, big outdoor level or something like that, the F key comes in really handy for that. Okay, and that's pretty much navigating the Unity interface. That's everything there is with Unity. What I want to show you now is projects, their folder structure, how you create one. Alright, if I go to my Unity projects folder where Angry Bots is stored, okay, I want to show you what's inside this. You've got 4 folders. Start from the bottom because that's the least important. Okay, temp is only created when Unity has the project open. So don't touch it, don't worry about it, you'll never have to delete it. Unity will delete it itself. Project settings handles all the physics, all the input data, all the dynamic manager, things like that. You don't need to touch any of the settings in here because you can do it inside the Unity interface. The library is where it stores a lot of assembled data, scripts and things like that. You'll never have to touch that folder either. Don't delete it, don't delete any of these folders in fact. Okay, but you'll never have to worry about what's inside them. The only one you do have to worry about is assets. This is where you put everything. You put down all your files, all your models, all your sprites, you put all your textures, sounds, music, things like that. They all go inside this one assets folder. Okay, and the interesting thing about this assets folder is it directly relates to this project view down here. You'll notice that every single folder, so Angry Bots, Animations, Editor, they all correlate because all these go into there and vice versa. So it's just sort of a link. If I create a new folder, let's go Stuff. I'll go back to Unity. There it is. Instantaneous. I didn't have to refresh anything. It just pops up in the Unity interface. That's why I absolutely love Unity. It's so quick to work with. You create a new model, save it in the assets folder, go back to Unity, and it's there already, ready for you to use. It's so quick and easy. Okay, creating your own project now. Let's do that. Okay, I'm going to go File and go New Project. Now, before you run away and hit Create, two things you should note. Where the hell are you saving your project? Okay, and do you want any of these packages? Firstly, I'm going to go Browse. Go away. And what I'm going to do is I'm going to create a new folder, call it Pinball. Please make sure you create a folder for a Unity project, a new one. Okay, I'm going to select the Pinball folder because later on we're going to be making a pinball game. And do I want any of these packages? No, not yet. We'll talk about them later on. So make sure you know where your project is stored, or save it on a flash drive, it's up to you. Create your projects. I'm not going to save Angry Bots. And we're in. Okay, you'll even notice if I go to the Unity projects and into my pinball folder, it's made all 4 folders for me. Assets is empty because we don't have any models, we don't have any textures, we don't have any levels just yet. Okay, but if I create something, if I just go scenes, because we're going to be creating a couple of scenes, and come back, again, there it is. Okay, so that's really handy to know that that's how it works. Okay, and that's what a project looks like and how to create a project. Now, how do we actually use this bloody program? I know you're all waiting for it, so let's start using it. Firstly, everything in the world is a game object, so we're going to start up in this game object menu. Okay, it's two you can create an empty one, or you can create a preset object. Now personally, I'm going to stick to these ones for this tutorial, because they're quite easy and they're really good to use. I'm just going to create a cube. You'll notice it pops up right in front of the camera, like always. It's got this weird widget thing on it. Okay, you may have noticed that in the previous tutorials that I was showing you, when I clicked on objects, that when I click on things you get this weird, it's called a widget, it's called a move widget in fact. Okay, and this allows me to move objects around in my world. So I can move it on the x-axis, or the z-axis, x-axis, and the y-axis. Okay, because it's a 3D world, we've got 3 dimensions. We've got the x, the y, and the z. Okay, and it's very important you should know that, because we can actually do a couple of things with that. Now, secondly, let's have a look up here in our play bar. You've got 4 options. You've got this hand, you've got a move, you've got rotate, and you've got scale. And the hand is the pan, so that's what we did with the middle mouse click. Now, I'm not going to go through that. However, we can go to move, okay, and we can move the object around. We can equally rotate it. We can rotate it around the X, around the Z, and around the Y. Okay, and I can even scale it in the same way. So I can scale it in the X, scale it on the Z, and scale it on the Y. Okay, and you can do that as much as you want. I mean, or you can even scale all 3. Okay, it's really up to you what you want to do. You might notice all these numbers changing as I play around with this object. Doesn't matter which one I choose. All these numbers change. Every single object has this transform. It controls where it is. I'll click on the camera, even it's got it. Okay, and you can actually affect the object. Instead of using these move tools, you can use this X, Y, and Z. Move, rotate it, and scale it. It's up to you. You can use these for fine tuning. So you can go to 1, you can go to, I don't like 16.62, I like 16.65, and I'll stuff that up. Okay, and things like that. So just be aware of that. It's really, really handy. So that's essentially what I want to do for this tutorial. What I suggest you do is have a play around with all the different things that you've got available to you. I want to teach you some shortcuts quickly before I go. W gives you the move key, E gives you the rotate, R gives you the scale. So W, E, R. Where? It's really handy to have those keyboard shortcuts. Okay, and you can do these to any object. Okay, anything you want. And there's one special one I want to show you quickly, is a plane. Okay, the plane's quite interesting. It's different from every other one. It is basically a 2D object in a 3D world. Okay, what that means is it's one-sided. So if I have a look at the top, this looks like normal. If I go underneath it, it disappears. So it's a one-sided object, which is really handy in some cases. It could be a floor to a building, it could be a wall, anything where you're not going to see the other side. It's really handy to use planes. Okay. Alright, well, next tutorial we're going to go through this inspector. We're going to have a look at components. We're going to have a little play around with physics, and then eventually we're going to start making our game. So, good luck everyone. Happy Unity.